Welcome to the Product Leaders Edge podcast. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I just wanted to highlight the Inside SoloStar newsletter on Substack. This is where you can get a written viewpoint of today's episode, as well as just a insider's look on my journey as a founder. So that's SoloStar, SOLOSTAR by kjg.substack.com. So that's SOLOSTAR by kjg.substack.com. Please subscribe today so that you will be notified first of all new episodes, and you'll also get a written view of the major points that were shared in each episode. Awesome. Let's jump into the episode now. Welcome back to the Product Leaders Edge podcast. I'm your host, KJ Green. I'm a lover of all things technology, AI, and cloud. But today we are joined by a very special guest who is one of my greatest friends from grad school. Today we're joined by Miriam Odabe. She is the founder and principal consultant at Rethink Strategy. And Miriam helps startups and small to medium-sized businesses build stronger go-to-market systems that turn chaos into clarity. And today we are diving into how she's redefining go-to-market strategy for modern founders and what it really takes to scale with intention in 2025 and beyond. But before we jump in, let me allow Miriam to introduce herself to the audience.
Hi, Miriam here. Thank you for inviting me to the podcast, KJ. Very gracious of you for describing me like you just did. Thank you. Again, Miriam here. I am the founder and principal consultant at Rethink Strategy, business growth and go-to-market strategy consultancy for startups and SMBs. Over the past 13 years of my life, my career highlight has been a combination of being an entrepreneur myself, starting businesses, working across the private sector, designing and executing various strategy, marketing, and business development strategies for companies across a wide range of industries, from tech to CPG to government, with some of my clients being Google. I've worked on brands such as Budweiser, and just so that I don't take a lot of your time.
No, we love the introduction and love how your career has evolved into so many different spaces and worked across so many different organizations.
Yeah.
I guess the first question to start us off, to kick us off, is what inspired you to launch Rethink Strategy, and what gap in the market were you determined to fill with your practice?
Good one. So there's two parts to that story. Let me start with the first part. Depending on how this goes, maybe I could tell you the second part. So for the first part, I was born into an entrepreneurial family. Both of my parents are entrepreneurs, had businesses going on, and growing up as a child in my family, you had to go through some kind of rites of passage by being involved in the family business at some point in your life. And I did that for years, even before I went on college. And eventually I left for pre-med school, started my own business, and also worked at an enterprise center. And I would say through the years doing all of that, one question that lived with me was, how do businesses grow to become the Microsofts of this world, the Walmarts, the Dangotes of this world, the Tata Groups of this world? So I could see the trend, even in my own family business, that businesses tend to get stuck at some point. So it was challenging myself through all the observations and, I was brainstorming through that, and I felt like there's a lot less of those legacy enterprises in emerging economies. That's the first part. Now, to the second part of this story, I have built businesses in the past that weren't sustainable beyond a few years, a year, two, So I started to, and for me, building all of those businesses, it starts with market research, sizing up the market. And for one of them, it involved identifying through a lot of research Chinese partners to work with, productions and stuff, doing marketing, doing a whole lot. It can be an exciting but lonely journey where you're taking twice the time to get certain things done because you haven't walked past that. You haven't walked down that path in the past or before. And there's really no one who can say, oh, here's a roadmap to follow. So you're learning through mistakes and you're taking twice, three times the time to achieve a certain goal. And at some point, I'm like, okay, I think there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are building something beautiful, but it's taking them a longer time to get there. So how can I take that
Mhm.
question from my past and then become that person for businesses who want to grow into the future, who want to build something that is sustainable, something where succession is the goal and they grow into bigger companies in the past. And this is what gave birth to what we know as Rethink today.
You said entrepreneurship is a rite of passage in your
Yes,
family.
yes.
Do you think that you fulfill that quote unquote family obligation and rite of passage with the work you're doing today?
Yes. Besides being part of the family business and contributing to building and continuing to build it, I am also fulfilling that by founding Rethink. I think entrepreneurship has always been in me. It's all that I have known from the moment I was born till today. So at every point in my life, I'm selling you something. I'm selling someone something. So I've always sold. So yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you talked about working across large organizations and now partnering with smaller organizations and startups, scale ups to get bigger. But what's like the key difference that you've noticed between a big brand for marketing there and for startup go to market strategy? And how does that influence how you advise founders?
Okay. I would say the difference between big brand marketing and startup go to market strategy would have to be that for big brands, they have built the audience and customer base over the years of existing. The
Mhm.
customers already have their ears. These customers know what they do. They know what they sell. They know the functional use of their products. Now, to market to them, these big brands don't need to sell the functional value of their products. They would have to take a different route, which is selling the emotional value, the social value, of their product. Think of Nike. Nike just do
Mhm.
it. It was a campaign, right? And they were trying to sell through that campaign. But what's Nike? Nike is a footwear brand. What business do they have motivating people? Because over the years, they've realized that a large chunk of their customer base, people who are into active wears, staying active. So, and if you're in that category, you care about something that motivates you, that drives you, grit, things like that. So Nike has to design emotional marketing campaigns that appeal to that great messaging you're looking for, that motivational messaging. So that's how big brands market, from the emotional to the social value. But for startups, on the other hand, you are likely introducing products that in a manner that it's not been done before, or it's not been used before,
Yeah.
a product no one has introduced before. And what that means is you get to sell a lot of the features of this product, the value proposition that you're bringing into the market that no competitor or no other brand has done before. So you have to focus a little more around highlighting the features while you're telling stories around the emotional and social value. And a bigger part of that is pretty much leaning towards educating the market, building trust, because you're a brand nobody knows. You're trying to build your brand. So you're building trust through education, through having a face representing the brand that people can easily connect with, through your tone of messaging. So that's pretty much how
Mhm.
startups would market differently from big brands.
I love that. I love that contrast. And you explained it so well. I've asked this question to so many different marketers, so many different business individuals, and this was probably the best answer I've gotten. So thank you for that. And as a follow-up to that question, when you're helping a startup or small business design their go-to-market strategy, in with them being unknown, what
Yeah.
are some of the first questions that you ask the
Okay.
founders or entrepreneurs as you're helping them to scale out their marketing plan?
Sure. I think a few of those questions, and in no particular order, right? But
Hmm.
I think one would have to be what is the pain point that led to the development of this product? What problem are you actually solving? A lot of times, founders, entrepreneurs out there are building products because I had this light bulb idea while I was taking a shower, and I think it's good to pursue because, well, it sounds fancy. Do people need this? Do they really need this? So, what's the actual problem you're trying to solve? Is someone else already solving it and you're just trying to come into a space that's saturated? So, what's the problem? Number one. Number two is, what is the solution to this pain point you're looking to solve? Think of it as, okay, people hate to hand wash or don't have the time. What's the solution to hand washing? It's a washing machine. Now, that's a solution, a direct solution, right? So what's your solution now? And then thirdly, a third question would have to be, what is the value proposition that you're bringing to the table? What's that thing you're doing differently from other washing machine manufacturers? Does yours speak a different language? Does yours speak in an AI voice or something? So does it wash the clothes? It would iron them, fold them, put them in the closet or something. So what's that value proposition would be the third. A fourth would be, who do you consider to be your customers? And have you spoken to them? Have you validated this market? Because it's commonplace for me to speak to founders out there and realize that who they think are their customers differ from who their actual customers are. So we have to work with them to find clarity, hold their hands to say, hey, this segment or this class of people are your customers, and we have to segment them based on their needs. So it's speaking to the customers, validating the idea, and ensuring that you're not just building something that nobody needs and that people would be, in fact, happy to pay for this product and own it. And through that, you'd get referrals, you'd get repeat buyers and things like that.
Wow, love it. I love that answer. And I think it draws on the notion of product market fit. Because you like you mentioned, you know, you're in your shower, you're driving in your car, this idea hits you,
Yeah.
but you're thinking it's good, but it may not be hitting on the fit for what the market needs. And that leads to my next question. What's the biggest gap that you've seen between product and marketing teams in early stage companies? And how do you close that gap with the work that you do?
Okay. I would like to bust a myth with that
Okay.
question. And that's something a lot of product managers may not like to hear.
Yeah.
Product as product standalone is marketing. And if product is marketing, what does that make product managers? It makes them marketers. And I want to
Wow.
explain. Product managers in tech and startups are what brand managers are to CPG. And
Mm. Okay.
you know the 4 P's of marketing, right? What's
Yep.
the first P?
Product.
Product. Exactly. Product is rooted very deeply in marketing. In the 4 P's, you have product, you have pricing, you have place, you have promotion, but product comes first. And then
Yeah.
everything else strings along. And in a typical CPG company, let's talk and Hughes-Bosch, Unilever, the job of the brand manager is to take responsibility for product innovations, product marketing, media, everything end to end. That's because you have to understand the product, its life cycle, take control of its life cycle, and also understand the customer and innovate that product based on the feedback and needs and evolving needs of the customers. That's why I
Right.
say product managers are marketers because they're building one arm of the 4 P's rooted in marketing. And when you're building a product, for instance, you're required to build from a customer-centric perspective where the customer's needs are evolving. You have to be in tune with that so you can creatively find a way to translate that into product innovation, into product strategy. Something I've noticed is that a lot of the marketers I have seen who have pivoted into product management roles have had the quickest success that I have seen anyone have in that role. And that's because they bring their experience in understanding the customer and translating that into execution into that role. So they hit the ground running. Alternatively, what I have seen, especially in the tech industry, is that a lot of product managers tend to have a computer science engineering degree.
Right.
Engineer is trained to build, 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 build. And at the end of the day, you see a lot of products with additional features that nobody asked for. And that's because engineers build. They're building features on features on features. We don't need some of these
Yep.
features. No one asked for it. But then I don't blame them.
Nobody
The
asked.
perspective and the approach towards building. Sometimes it's not about building newer features on a product to innovate the product. Innovating a product or having a product strategy could easily be around maybe pricing, maybe a promotion or your distribution channel. Any other aspects of go-to-market is where you can innovate on to have your product strategy. So I think for me, in bridging that gap, I think what I'm trying to say is once product managers start to see themselves as marketing and not independent of marketing, that gap gets bridged. It becomes, oh, marketing is an extension of my team. We're working hand in hand.
You are saying the words that a lot of product managers don't say or admit to. And this was one of the biggest fights that not fight, but one of the biggest struggles that I had with the organization that I worked with,
Mm-hmm.
where the problem we were trying to attract new customers,
Yeah.
customers who were already in our existing pipeline to use a particular product that we
Yeah.
had. And the pushback that I keep getting from product leadership was, what do we need to build
Yes.
in order for these customers? But it wasn't, we didn't need to do anything. We didn't need to build or add any features. We needed to redefine our strategy. We
Mm-hmm.
needed to have to market to the existing clients that we hoped to, changing behavior, because marketing is really to change consumer behavior and
Mm-hmm.
habits.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we needed to do,
Yes.
and I got so much pushback with my recommendation that we just needed a new strategy, but they didn't want to hear it.
Sometimes the
And
disconnect between having a
yeah,
sense of strategy and marketing and then the team being more technical and all they want to do is build, 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 build.
yeah, yeah. So that song attuned to my soul. Okay, so these questions kind of talk about the work that you're doing now and just like lessons that you've learned on
Yeah.
this journey of being a founder.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like, is there any recent projects, and this could be projects that you are undergoing now to build the business, like build your inside business or, with external clients, what's a recent project that captures what Rethink Strategy is all about? What captures the essence of what you do?
Sure. I would like to talk about a current project while leaving out names. I think one would be we're currently helping a client that's entering a new market to gain clarity, to build their brand and also with market entry strategies. Pretty much just holding their hands through the process, right? First, we
Yeah.
started with the clarity aspect of it. What is it exactly you want to do in this market? What do you want to achieve? So we conceptualized the goals, then did a lot of market research to understand what the market looked like, the customers, and also what the competitive activity in this space looks like. And based on that, we're able to come up with a strategic direction for the next 1 year on what needs to be done and how the client here needs to show up. So the client is coming into this market with a new product or a new brand. with no branding whatsoever done yet. So the
Hmm.
first things have to be done, which is establishing a brand, building the brand voice, building the brand tone, building a logo, a brand colors,
Right.
and also digital footprints. And then while doing that, also executing other aspects of the market entry steps, designing a customer acquisition strategy, and also channel and distribution for these clients. So it's going to be a long 1 year. And this kinds of wholesome projects is the kind of things we do at Rethink. And it doesn't have to be the whole 9 years in some cases. For these clients, it's because, well, it's a new market for them. They are new. There is no brand whatsoever. So we have to do a lot of building to get them going. But other things that we also do involves customer acquisition strategy building, channel and distribution strategy. Where would you sell at? Where would your product be seen by the customer? To
Right.
market validation strategies and marketing and sales strategies. So for some clients, it's one aspect of this that they come to us for. And for some other clients, it's like the full suite. And for others, it's, hey, I'm expanding. We have been
Hmm.
doing business in X region. We are looking to expand to Y region, which is closer to X. But we're being risk averse, and we are worried that this may not take off exactly how we anticipate. So it's working with them to streamline what their objectives are and then coming up with a strategy that executes. For some clients, they come to us with, oh, we just need the strategy. It's long term, right? We just need the strategy. The team would execute. And for some other clients is, hey, our team is lean, especially for startups where they need some kind of experience to come in and provide strategic directions, but they don't have the financial bandwidth to retain teams to get that done. So we could also act as their fractional team strategies to get that going.
Well, I like that. I like that suite of services. I love that. That's awesome. So this next question here is, looking back on your experience, with working with global campaigns,
Yeah.
what did that teach you about scale and storytelling that startups often overlook?
Sure. I think that would have to be selling the pain point and the results, not just the product or the feature. That's the
Mm,
one thing.
okay.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I've learned from marketing for global brands. Think of it this way. People buy
Yeah.
convenience, they buy less headaches, they buy, faster results, stability, confidence. This is what people buy. They are not buying that sleek product that has that new AI feature that you just added because it's sleek, it's technical. That's not what they are buying. And oftentimes, startups and small businesses tend to focus a lot of their attention on selling that feature that they have, that technicality.
Right.
And I can understand for a lot of founders, founding teams, when you are engrossed in building something, you become obsessed with it. And then you forget that the next person has not shared in your vision of building, has not come down that journey with you. So they don't really understand this product as much as you do. So, but that's the disconnect that I see with startups, with founding teams and smaller businesses or mid businesses. They need to start selling. They need to start selling what the results are, what the solution is to their target audience or anybody else they're selling to. I mean, it's commonplace for me to meet a founder who says, yes, I have this ERP for small businesses. It's really going to change the game for SMEs. It helps them optimize and automate a lot of their processes. This small business does not even know what ERP stands for.
Right.
You get, they don't even know what ERP stands for. And how are you sure that
No
your
clue.
target has the technical skills to use this ERP? But now when you switch to storytelling and you're saying, hey, I have this thing that you can download on your phone or your computer, and it would help you with your bookkeeping or your accounting, and now you will need to hire an accountant, and you don't need to know anything about accounting. At the end of the day, this will save you 15% in profit. Ask us how. Now you've shown them the results. You've told them the solution. And then people are like, what? 15% in additional profit? I want that. That's what a business owner is thinking. More margins. How I can do something, because business owners or small SMEs, they wear a lot of hats. So if you're telling them that you don't have to hire an additional person, you don't have to have this skill to wear this hat, they want to hear how. So it's the storytelling aspect of it that leads to scale. And that's something that big businesses or big brands are doing differently.
I agree. I agree because I think what people have to realize in 20 beyond, and this is going to be a hard truth, but AI is not a differentiator if it's not
Mm,
packaged right.
yes.
It's not.
Mhm.
It's not, it's not. And like you said, a lot of these small businesses don't have the skill set or the know-how, based off of their operations and their business line
Yes.
to really interpret what this technical thing that you're selling to them means.
Yes.
Yeah, so I totally agree with that. So this section of questions will kind of cover just like the founder's lens
Okay.
for your work and, kind of getting just a sense of what it felt like to build this from scratch, essentially build Rethink Strategy.
Okay.
And I get this question that I'm going to ask is what has been the biggest challenge or surprise about founding Rethink Strategy for you?
Good one. I think for one, that would have to be finding team members that share your vision and mission and for your business. And for me, that's what it's been.
Right.
You are passionate about this thing you're doing and you know what the goals are, the missions. You can pretty much share it with people who want to come on board. But if that's not something that resonates with them, if that's not something that's on the same path as where they're going, and someone just pretty much takes the job, you're not going to be aligned. There will be a lot of misalignment because your paths
Oh,
don't align. So it's the struggle of finding people who align, who are willing to build with you, who are willing to dedicate as much passionate time to clients like you're already doing.
that makes sense. And how do you balance being, a consultant, guiding strategy, but also as a founder and building the firm?
Good one. I would say I have been able to wear my strategist hat in building or designing long-term strategies for Rethink. Currently, Rethink is following a 2-year roadmap. And even beyond the 2-year, there's the 1-year roadmap. And even the 1-year roadmap has been designed into chewable pieces where there is a 3 months, there is a 6 months, there's a 9 months, and there is a 12th month. So that chewable pieces that makes it easy to follow. And being an entrepreneur can be very overwhelming. And sometimes it's easy to derail. So on days where it feels overwhelming, there's a lot going on. I just need to go back to the drawing board to say, okay, where are we? Where are we supposed to be right now? At what phase of this
Yeah,
life circle are we? And what are we supposed to be doing? And then the roadmap says this is what we're supposed to be doing. Are we on track? Are we
mhm.
auditing what we've done so far? Are we on track? So it's following that roadmap to achieve the 2-year goal, to achieve the 1-year goal. And this is the same thing that Rethink we designed for founders out there. It's working with them to say, hey, you are not supposed to be winging this thing. For a lot of founders, it's okay, I will take the step, then I'll take the step. You're not supposed to be winging it. And then if tomorrow you wake up, your competitor is doing a certain thing, you tend to want to copy and then leave your own direction. So it's building that strategic direction for them, that roadmap, and handing it over to them so that there is a clear roadmap for them to follow for the next 1 year, for the next 2 years. Yeah.
No, not falling prey to distraction
Yes.
and sticking to strategy. I love it. I love it. And I think that's taking it back to the basics,
Yeah.
because there's so much distraction right now. I mean, we talked about AI,
Yeah.
everything else that's going on in the world that you have to go back to the toolbox on what makes sense for your business and
Yes.
execute
Mm-hmm.
accordingly. I love
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So, thinking about the future of go to market, how do you see AI, just data analytics reshaping go to market strategy over the next few years?
We'll say I see two things happening. First, being that the administrative aspect of go to market, the internal process aspect of it would be automated a lot, taken over
Yeah,
by AI. And I'm talking building frameworks, building templates, internal processes that unify cross functional teams, and also go to market audit tools. And by the way, for any entrepreneurs out there, feel free to grab a go-to-market auditing tool. We have go-to-market auditing tool that now you don't have to sit with me to get done. So these are things that AI and tech is automating, and I see a lot of that going into the future happening, where AI would replace that aspect of GTM. So, but then on the second hand now, is the strategic thinking aspect. I do not think that I would be able to do that as much as a seasoned strategist who's done this for years would do. And that's because as humans, our biggest advantage is our imaginative and creative traits, which we apply to brainstorming, to creating strategies, and with that, you're able to take an overarching look at the situation, bring in a lot of factors that you may not be able to verbalize or give out to AI as a prompt, but your brain is actively thinking it. So it's creatively designing strategies that help go to marketing or go to market teams stand out or get far into the future. And in terms of, I know you talked about data and analytics as well, is the aspect I had mentioned earlier where you have to, that AI would automate internal processes. So I feel like now more than ever, go to market teams need to document a lot of processes. And what I mean by that is
sure.
document things that gives you some kind of reservoir of data, a reservoir of processes that you could use even as an organization to train your own internal AI in the future to help you get the job done faster. Think go-to-market strategy function, should I say processes or jobs that used to take 10 people to do. What I see happening in the future is it would take, 2 people or 3 people to do the job of these 10. And that will be because a lot of teams would have trained their own AI with their own internal data, their own internal processes to get this job done. And then those mundane aspects of admin, cross-functional tools and stuff that nobody really enjoys doing, AI would take over that. Instead of running GTM analytics yourself, you have an AI doing that bit for you. And now you don't have an analyst that's wasting time sorting through a lot of data. So that's how I see AI and GTM working hand in hand with a handshake
Right.
in the future.
Yeah. With a handshake. I love it. I love it. I love it. But to that regard, do you see the CMO role evolving to something more like go to market centric or more like a chief growth architect prototype in the future for the chief marketing officer role?
Absolutely. 100%. I mean, it's already happening. Some companies are already adopting that as we speak.
Okay.
Someone who is well versed in marketing, in sales and strategy makes for an excellent recipe for the chief growth officer or chief growth architect role. And it's not always easy finding someone who has a combination of that experience. And for teams that have those, what I've seen happen lately is that they become that chief growth architect for certain companies. And even at Rethink, we already offer this, and I had alluded to that earlier. we already offer like a
Hmm.
fractional service where for startups who can't retain a chief growth architect or chief growth officer, for instance, they hire us as their fractional growth officer where we design the strategy and then work with your team to execute. And these are for startups who, okay, you know what? I want this chief growth officer. However, I do not have the financial bandwidth to retain, adding that headcount for a role that big and retaining them, it could be quite cost focused. So it's saying, how
For
can I
sure.
do this at a fractional rate while also keeping my runway in check? So yes, I see that happening in the future, and that has begun to happen in some cases.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Good to hear. Okay. So this final segment
Okay.
is a fun game that we'll do to close out. So
I love to play
it's
games.
called, yeah, yeah, me too. It's called Marketing Myth or Must. So
Okay.
I'll read through a few common marketing statements and you tell me whether it's a myth
Yeah.
or must and why and why.
Okay.
So the first prompt is startup should spend big on ads early. Myth or must?
It's a myth.
Okay. Tell us why.
It's um it's a myth because you may not even need ads as a startup. Depending on your product, depending on your audience, you may not need ads. There are companies who have successfully scaled without ads. And let's be clear, um, advertising here is marketing, but marketing is not ads. Advertising is just one small
Mm,
aspect of marketing. So there are companies who have scaled successfully without ads. So yeah, it's a myth.
okay. Love that. Influencers are the key to every go-to-market strategy.
Another myth. There
Okay.
are
Tell
businesses
us.
that rarely use influencers, and you can definitely execute a go-to-market strategy without influencers. So yeah, it's important in certain cases, but it's not like the key to GTM.
Okay. Product market fit comes before the brand.
It's a must.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like you can't build a brand first, but if you build a brand first, what are you trying to sell to them? So,
It's true.
but when you achieve PMF that has guaranteed that people are willing to pay for your product, you can now build a brand around that to drive increased adoption and sales. So I would say achieve PMF, have something that you've tested and someone is willing to pay, and then you can build a brand around that.
Yes, yes, yes. I 100% agree with that one. Founders should be the face of the brand.
It's a yes, not a must.
Okay.
I would say it helps to build trust when you have a founder be the face of a brand because you're selling something new, a new brand nobody knows. So you need a face to connect. However, some brands have been, or companies have been built by faceless people and they have grown and thrived. Take, for instance, you have a lot of YouTube, Instagram, TikTok pages or businesses being run by faceless people. They are dishing out educational, entertaining content every day, and they have a massive following. Are people buying? Yes. So it's a yes, but not a must. Now it depends on what you're selling, who you're selling to.
Okay. Awesome. Every brand needs a viral moment to grow.
A myth. Yes, it's a myth. There is a brand
Okay.
out there, there's a startup out there with a high profit per employee or high revenue per employee that people do not know about, that haven't gone viral yet. But then they have a product that sells, that finishes off the shelf. You don't need a viral moment. And for B2C, like consumer brands, viral moment works a lot to their advantage. For certain kinds of businesses, in B2B and not all. I mean, depending on who you're selling to, do you really need a viral moment, especially because you're selling to businesses?
Yeah, they may not care. They don't care.
They don't care. So,
They just want you to deliver. Care
yes.
about the extra.
Mhm.
I agree with that one. I totally agree. Awesome. This conversation was amazing. I have learned so much from you. And I know the audience will benefit from all of the tips and all of the guidance and strategies that you shared with us today. And really, when I think of Rethink Strategy, your firm, I
Yeah,
feel like it isn't just a name, it's a mindset.
it is.
It's really where marketing and future go-to-market strategy is going. So thanks so much for just breaking down all of these systems for us. And where can the audience find you and connect with either your personal page or with Rethink Strategy?
Great one. We are on Instagram as Rethink Strategy, on LinkedIn as the same name, on TikTok. We're still growing our TikTok footprint. I mean, we're learning how to dance, but but you would find us on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and you'd also find us on our website where we have a lot to share with you. We are also on Substack, where we have a newsletter that shares a lot of gems around marketing on a budget for startups. And don't forget to check us out and grab yourself some free gems, and hope to see you around.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks again for the time today. Thank you all for listening and see you in the next episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in to episode 6 of the Product Leaders Edge podcast. This is KJ here. I just wanted to jump in to just add a quick voice note. Really enjoyed this episode with Miriam. This is honestly my favorite episode thus far in the season because it wraps up our part 1 and part 2 of product market fit. And it just brings in the go-to-market strategy, which comes after you've identified product market fit. This podcast thus far has definitely grown to heights that I haven't expected. And I really thank you all so much. In just 90 days, we've had over 200 downloads, and we have representation of listeners from the United States, Japan, Sweden, Vietnam, Singapore, Iraq, Taiwan, Canada, Czech Republic, Germany, Spain, South Korea, Malaysia, Nigeria, the Netherlands, Russia, and my hometown, the U.S. Virgin Islands. Thank you all so much. Thank you to our global audience for your continued engagement and support. We have a lot more to come in the season. We are just getting started. We have a lot more to come, and I'm already planning out season 2. So this podcast has a lot to offer, and I really appreciate all the listeners thus far. Thank you all so much. Thank you for listening to the Product Leaders Edge podcast. If this episode gave you a new way to think about product leadership, share it with someone else who's building in the tech space today. You can follow my work on LinkedIn through my weekly series, Tech Tuesdays with KJ, and subscribe to the newsletter on Substack, which is Solostar by KJG.substack.com. And I'll link all of that into the show notes for you all. But let's continue to build at the intersection of product, cloud, and AI. Until next time, keep building.